Hey everybody, we're here at Sun and Fun. My name is Bo Garrett. I'm the founder of Bravo Golf. We are an aviation-inspired watch brand. The quick backstory is I was a flight instructor and always wanted a watch that was a little bit more simple and less bulky. So I decided to come up with a GMT watch. About 3 years ago, I sent a survey out to pilots on social media asking them what they wanted in a watch. And 7 weeks later, we had over 1,800 responses. As a flight instructor, I was never really able to afford an expensive aviator, and they were all often too bulky and too complex for me as well. So I thought it'd be really cool to create an alternative for pilots out there, something that's a little bit more simple, sleek, and modern, but also more affordable because you can't afford much on a flight instructor's salary. So I decided to create the Bravo Golf Discovery, and we made it with all of the highest quality material. So it is incredibly durable. It'll last you a lifetime, and it won't break the bank. And so you can check it out on our website. On our website, they're $495. Often at the shows, we sell them for $445. And we do offer a custom engraving on the case back. So if you're a pilot or if it's your anniversary, we can put the date, we can put your airman number, and that comes at no additional cost for every purchase. That's something that we love to do to personalize the watch. We really love sharing in the story of fellow pilots and just kind of, being a part of their journey, which is a big reason that I decided to start this brand. More than just a watch, I really wanted pilots to have something that would help commemorate their journey through aviation, because it's filled with so many milestones. Your first Discovery flight, which is what the Discovery is named after, your first solo, your first cross country. There's just many achievements along the way that we wanted to celebrate with pilots out there. So that's really the ethos of our brand and what we're about. We're very excited to be part of the community. To talk a little bit more about the features, the Discovery itself is a Swiss-made quartz movement. The battery lasts for 4 years, and we do offer a lifetime battery replacement. They all come with a 2-year manufacturer's warranty as well. And we often get asked, is it waterproof? And in fact, it is. It's water resistant to 100 meters. And we made it like a tank. So it's got a sapphire crystal on it. It will not scratch, chip, or dent. The only thing that cuts it is a diamond. It's encased in 316 stainless steel, which is a fancy way of saying medical grade. So the nerd knowledge behind that is that there's less carbon in it. So it'll take a lot, it won't ever corrode on you. We design, engineer, and assemble these in Ohio proudly. So we hand assemble them there, test them there. Then they ship them down to my facility in Nashville, and we ship them out from there. But we are Nashville based. We made a very simple, intuitive GMT to local conversion. So the crescent window on our watch is the Zulu time. The local is the hands, which is a little bit more intuitive and helps you to compare local to Zulu a little bit easier without having to search for the hour on the ring. Some other really cool aspects of the watch is we put X1 grade superluminova on the hands and the dial. The nerd knowledge behind that is that it's 60% brighter after 2 hours of usage versus standard grade. So if you leave it in the sun for 20 minutes, it'll last you 3 to 4 hours at night. It's really bright and lasts a really long time. The leather itself, I'm very proud of. It comes from one of the oldest tanneries in the US for the strap. The leather is actually out of Chicago, and it's made very well. It's very sturdy, and it wears to your wrist. So it becomes uniquely yours as well. So I'll share some of the stories with you that really get me excited and inspired. We had one pilot purchase the watch right before his solo, and he wore it during his solo flight, and he emailed me, and he's like, I'm never taking this watch off. It's always going to be part of my flight journey. And that's honestly why I started this. I really wanted to have something to help pilots celebrate everything that they're doing. So to earn your wings, it's a lot of passion and sacrifice. And so it's always cool to hear stories from guys who've purchased the watch and it's become part of their journey. Recently today, we just had somebody purchase one. He was an F-14 Tomcat flight instructor for the Navy. And we got to inscribe his call sign on the back of it, which was really cool. That actually happened twice. We had a Navy pilot come by and an Army pilot come by, and they both decided to put their call signs on there. So that was really awesome. About a year ago, we were actually invited by the Wright brothers family to do a limited edition watch run using the family name as part of the series. And so I was very thankful for that invitation. And I said, yes, of course. And so I spent last summer working with Stephen Wright on our Wright Brothers collection, which is available now. They'll ship in August of 2025. So we've got that project that we just completed, and we've got a few more on the horizon that we're very excited about. As I was doing research for that series, it became very clear to me that the Wright brothers would not have had the success that they did without the influence of their family. So instead of just focusing on the brothers and what they accomplished, which is in itself remarkable, we wanted to bring in the influences of their father and their sister in particular. So their father, Bishop Milton Wright, was a bishop in the United Brethren Church, and he used to travel for work, and he'd always bring his sons home a toy or something to play with from his travels. Well, one day he brought home this thing called a toy Pinot helicopter. It was this little toy that wound up with a rubber band, and it would shoot up and fly. Both Wilbur and Orville credit that toy as the early inspiration for their fascination with flight. So in honor of the bishop's influence, we came up with the Bishop watch, and it has the toy Pinot helicopter engraved on the case back itself to really memorialize his contribution to the history of flight. Catherine, their sister, was remarkable as well. She was brilliant, and she taught French and Latin to high school students, and that was always her dream. But when her brothers created flight, they created their flyer, they tried to promote it throughout Europe, but they just weren't having much success. So they invited their sister over, and she just was able to sell it to everybody. She spoke to prime ministers, heads of state, kings and queens. Her influence was so instrumental that France awarded her the French Legion of Honor alongside of her brothers for her contributions. So in honor of Catherine, we've come up with the Catherine watch, and on the back of her watch is engraved the Wright Flyer itself. So the brothers' watch is obviously inspired by the brothers, and they solved three major problems with flight, as many of you probably know. It was a problem of lift, of thrust, and of control. Lift and thrust had been largely solved by science of the day, but control was another generation away from really being understood. When people were creating flyers at the turn of the century, they often would think of them in a two-dimensional plane, like you would drive a car left and right. So they try to turn airplanes or gliders left and right in the same way. And it led to a lot of tragedy, unfortunately, a lot of deaths and experimentation. So Orville and Wilbur did something that nobody had ever done, and they decided to study the birds. And they said, if the birds know how to turn, we should be able to figure it out. So their first trip to Kitty Hawk actually wasn't with their airplane at all. It was just to go and study the winds and how the birds floated on the wind. And after many hours out there, Wilbur actually noticed that there was a twisting pattern to the wings. And when he got back to his bicycle shop, and many of you have heard this story, he was working on a tube for a bicycle, and he was holding the box of the tire tube. And as the story goes, subconsciously, he started twisting that tube back and forth to mimic the movement of the bird's wings. And then he looked down and he realized he could do the same thing on an airplane wing. So he came up with this twisting mechanism, and he wrote it down in his journal. And it's his drawing that we actually have engraved on the case back of the brothers. So their wing warping technology was truly revolutionary and innovative for the time. And we really wanted to honor that part of their story. So you can find us, obviously, here at Sun and Fun. We're at the same booth every year, B17. We'll be up at Oshkosh, and we're going to be at the Pacific Air Show this year as well. Online, we're at www.flybravogolf.com. You can also find us on Instagram at FlyBravoGolf. We do many different collaborations as well. So if anybody is interested in co-branding with us, we absolutely welcome those opportunities. And we've done some of those in the past, and we're always open to some new ones. Just by way of example, we work with aero clubs, we work with other aviation brands, aircraft manufacturers. There's a number of things we can do to help you create a custom watch for your audience and for your customer base as well. So thank you again for checking us out. Again, we are Bravo Golf, and it's time to fly.